Hello again, friends, and you are my friends, and welcome to a Friday night Talking Town, our match preview show as we build up to this weekend's game away, the London Stadium against West Ham. And as always, we can't do it without you wonderful people at home. So thank you, first of all, for joining us. Please also like, subscribe, and now get active in the live chat box. That would be brilliant. Love to hear your thoughts this evening. Love to hear what you're thinking as we head into the game. A game that, obviously is there to be won. West Ham haven't had the greatest of starts. We obviously haven't won a game yet. We've, unbeaten in 4. There's lots to talk about, lots to unpack. So we welcome your thoughts. And don't forget, we are partnered with Match Bingo. Play Match Bingo, win cash prizes. That's while I was a few minutes late. I was setting my bingo card up. It's £2 a bingo card. Got bingos on there as well. And each time you play, you do support the crucial work of the East Anglian Air Ambulance, a crucial service. I'm sure we can all agree. Good evening, Lynn. Good evening, Mike. Hope you are well. As Mark as well. Welcome in. Guys, lovely to see you this evening. Over 18s only. Be gamble aware. Match Bingo. Play Match Bingo. Win cash prizes. If you're here for the prediction league, the Talking Town Survivor League, there's some information on our Meet the Opposition video where we sat down with a West Ham fan. It's about halfway through the show, so do jump back and check that, and also put your Survivor predictions in on the comments. You can also put them on this show as well. I will pick both shows up. This one here is we focus purely on ITFC. That's the West Ham perspective. That's all the things we need to know about our opposition. This is now all about us. And Hamish says the Hammers are in for a big shock. He's gone 2-0. Hamish has gone 2-0. I do want to try and drop a live link as well towards the end of the show, if we get time, just to invite as many of you on as we possibly can. You don't need a webcam. You just need a microphone to come on, and I'm going to ask you 2 questions. So these are the questions. You've already got them in your mind, thinking about them. Will Town win? And your score prediction. And I'll try and get as many people on as we can. If anybody clicks the link, you never know, sat in this chair, who will click the link or how many will click the link. But I'll try and get as many on as I can towards the end of the show. So if you do want to come on, as I say, you don't need a webcam, you just need a microphone. I'll drop it towards the end of the show, time permitting. Now, joining me this evening is, of course, the one, the only, the man that's got 1,000 analogies. It is Mr. Ben Adams. Ben, welcome in. How you doing?
I'm really well, thank you. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. Back is still bad, so sitting in the chair is not great. So we're going to try and keep it flowing this evening and look and build up to what is another great occasion. I think it's our first ever visit to the London Stadium as a football club. I spoke to a West Ham fan midweek, and they've really grown into the stadium, and as he said, great European nights under the lights will do that to a stadium. Are you looking forward to the game heading in?
Yeah, I really am. Another new stadium, a stadium we've probably all passed on the way, the train on the way to London. I know a lot of people that go. A lot of my family managed to get tickets on the ballot tomorrow.
Excellent.
So a lot of firsts tomorrow. People going to a massive Premier League stadium, short trip down to London. It's sort of a local derby. And West Ham and Ipswich have a lot of crossovers, a lot of histories, players backwards and forwards, playoff semi-finals year after year. There's a lot of stuff between us, and I cannot wait.
Gosh, yeah, lots of stuff between us. Those playoff years under Big Joe.
Cool.
Where it was our time, and then of course, obviously West Ham in the playoffs. It was always West Ham's time, it would seem, and lots of crossover. And I can remember playing West Ham many times over the years, even in the Premier League years. I remember Matt Holland scoring a volley.
That's right. Yeah,
in front
of
an empty of a half completed stand. You had, I want to say, somebody from West Ham hit the bar in that game. Like that just sticks in my mind, that game, for some reason.
Yeah, I always done the West Ham away games. It's always great. I remember Jimmy Bullard praying and winding up their crowd. Always like shouting you by your tracksuits at Matland, really wiling them up. It was a great stadium to go to. Real proper set of fans. You have to be very careful on the journey up there at the old stadium because you pass some funny areas. So you'd always hide your Ipswich Town top until you got within walking distance. But it's a great rivalry between us, and I think it's going to be a hell of a matchup tomorrow. I'm really excited about this one.
Well, I think we're one of the last teams, if not the last team, to play at Upton Park.
Yeah.
And I think we all, I want to say we won that game. I think it was under Paul Jewell, I want to say. And I think
I can't
we won
remember.
it. I'll have to look it up. It's literally, as we're sort of talking here, it's come to me. Hamish, it's an ugly stadium, miles from the action, like the old Wembley, nowhere near as good as Upton Park. He also says, Royce, a free kick winner in 2001, the #1 moment away. Good evening, Paul. Hope you're well. We're going to try and bring a few comments in from the press conference that happened today with Kieran McKenna as we sort of build up and go through this. And I tell you what, let's kick things off there, right there, and then with Calvin Phillips, obviously returning back to West Ham after his loan spell. Ben McKenna had this to say in his press conference: he's getting fitter, and every performance from him has probably been a bit stronger than the last. Doesn't always work like that, and it's not always a perfect line, but we feel if he can keep working as he has, then he has a chance to work himself up some really good form. Been important to us over the last few years. We have generally played with a double pivot, maybe one midfielder with more flexibility, but a lot of the time it's two midfielders who play close together. We have also seen the importance of having two combative midfielders who break up play in front of our back line well. We like to be very aggressive in our back line, and often we have fullbacks jumping into high pressure, and we certainly have that. We obviously Leaf on the left. He didn't say that. That was my bit added in. On the opposition, so having combative midfielders who can protect the back line whenever we are pressing high is very important. That McKenna said on Calvin Phillips today in his press conference. So, Ben, I'll ask you the question. How good has Phillips been since he arrived on loan from Man City?
He's been better. And I agree with that. He has done individually what the team has done collectively, which is game on game on game, just incremental improvements. And what the biggest difference to me is seeing his level of fitness. So what he does, you watch his running off the ball as he works around Morsey, how he's trying to protect the back line but also connect with the forward line. He's getting fitter and fitter and fitter, and that is a player for me ripe to be McKenna'd. Glittering career, then went completely off the rails, injuries at the wrong time, and your confidence is low. Give him to McKenna, and McKenna will make him really, really good. I think we have not even seen close to the ceiling of what he could do for us this season, and I'm already quietly impressed with what he's done. Not I would say turning up 10 pegs, but good. Very good in a Premier League midfield, and I think he complements Sam Morsey quite well. I think they just work really well together. You watch the two of them, how they move around each other on and off the ball. That they do seem to have a nice little partnership going. And I think, if you're a bit down in your confidence, you had to take a step down, and we are a step down, and you're trying to rebuild something. Who are the two people in football right now you need to do that? Sam fucking Morsey is your captain, and Kieran fucking McKenna is your manager. These are two people that if you're going to be dragged out of not having a lot of confidence, they're heaven sent for you.
Yeah, I completely agree. Obviously, it didn't go as well as he would have hoped it would have gone at West Ham last season, but this is a player that could have moved to Man City, a big money move, Benny. And those things don't happen unless you've got a bit about you. And he's come in, and I think what McKenna said in his comments there, he's getting fitter, and every performance from him has probably been a bit stronger than the last. I think he's nailed it in one sentence, really, because the debut and subsequent weeks from there, you can see him growing. And as you said, no better manager than McKenna, no better captain than Morsey to really drag that out of you. And he's getting better and better. And what was evident in his first few games, perhaps reading the play. Is still there, but equally he's getting fitter, and now you're seeing him, around that, and that never leaves you. But now you're seeing him, obviously, now he's finding his feet and getting fitter, as McKenna says. You are seeing that complete, that really strong midfield play come through.
I watched. I think my YouTube algorithm has algorithmed me to him because I was watching. I want to see where he come from. His loan spell at West, sort of spell at West Ham, time at Man City, and then the time at Leeds. And someone's done this compilation of 50 performances of Calvin Phillips. And what I've noticed that wasn't present in the last 20 before Ipswich is him smiling. When the goal's rising, when he's off the pitch, when something goes well, he smiles. He's got a lovely smile to him. Not quite on the level of Marcus Harness, but no one has a level of Marcus Harness smile. But he seems to be enjoying himself. He's like, this is why I sacrificed to be a footballer. And I think that's a lot of the attitude and the culture around the club. That, to take a player in and say, look, we believe in you. You're going to start over a midfield that saw her through to promotion last season. And, it's like in life, isn't it? You get someone that shows a bit of belief in you. You do things you never thought possible. I've got a wife who does the same for me. And in the footballing sense, in the professional sense, if you have someone you think's got your back and who trusts you and who pushes you, you can be shocked how far you can go.
Yeah. Pixel Blue says it looked like to me that when Phillips came up against Villa, everyone raised their game. We improved all of the pitch. He'd give Mass another shot. Felixstowe Blues would. He'd put Mass back in. I still think for me, and thanks for the comment, Felixstowe Blues. I still think for me it's Phillips and Morsey starting in midfield tomorrow. Is it for you as well?
I think because of no other reason than his time at West Ham, I think he's going to want to lay some ghosts to rest. He's going to want to say, this is what I can do. Smodix may be the same reason, but I think there's ghost to rest there for Calvin Phillips. And I think if he's going to score a goal, if he's going to do something wonderful, it's just one of those football things, isn't it? That it will be him tomorrow. So I'm going to put a cheeky little 5 green queens on him getting a cheeky goal tomorrow, because it's just built for it. It's built for it. It's I'm on the up. I've got it back again. It's building. And here's a reminder of where I was, and maybe an understanding of where I'm not now. And I think he'll dance tomorrow. I think he'll love it.
Certainly, we'll have a point to prove. I'd have thought to the West Ham, fans.
Yeah.
The spell didn't seem to go well there, so certainly going to have that going on as well, which is great for us because the more players you've got that point to prove, and the whole squad's got points to prove. They're all stepping up to the Premier League and all got different things. So yeah, okay. I would have said goal scorer, but I'll take it. If you're selling it, I will buy it 100%. Before we come to Leif Davies, because obviously McKenna mentioned the fullbacks there, and he also spoke about Leif, and I've got a question for you on Leif. David says in the chat, tougher game tomorrow than people think. It's a hard place to go and get a result. What are your thoughts on that? Obviously, it's not been the start that many West Ham fans perhaps would have wanted under the new manager. They've won once, but they're a team packed full of quality, Ben. Many players that had that great European success only 18 months ago or so. Some real quality players, as every team has at this level. But what are your thoughts on David's comment there? Is it a tougher game tomorrow than people were perhaps giving it credit for?
I don't know, because I haven't. I can only reflect on what I've seen on every social media, every board, FC forum. I don't think anyone I've ever read anywhere has said it's going to be an easy game tomorrow at all. Every single game in this division is tough. As Southampton, we thought, well, there's one we're going to win against. I think they've got a much weaker squad than we have. It was the hardest game of the season for me, where we played our worst. So I don't think anyone's expecting anything magic tomorrow. I just think it's another tough game, and we've got 34 of them left. So we've got to do in this game what we've done against Aston Villa, what we've done against Fulham, what we've done against Brighton, Liverpool to a certain degree. It only takes 1 or 2 moments in this league to undo you. So it's not the fact it's tougher. We're just going to have to be the same as we've been and do it every single game. Don't get me wrong, this is not like it's going to Anfield or the Emirates or somewhere. It's not as tough as that. But of course it's tough. It's the fucking Premier League. There's no such thing as not tough.
This is it, and I don't think people are perhaps, as David's words were, a tougher game tomorrow than people think. I think people are thinking it's an easy game. I think people are seeing some vulnerability in West Ham at the moment. They're seeing some, fans unhappy in the stands. They're seeing, some various different things on social media about fans. This is a team that does this or does. There's
a big protest going on, and yeah. And
I think they sort of sense vulnerability, Ben, in this West Ham side that perhaps Town can go and exploit a little bit.
Of course, and to get 3 points, to quote Neil Warnock, you got to die to get 3 points. And if you smell a bit of blood in the water, which is absolutely the case, tomorrow's it. The fans are disgruntled with the owners rather than I think the management and the players. But again, that can galvanise a team. I don't think the fans have turned on the manager, and they certainly haven't turned on the players. They've turned on the hierarchy. So that can actually, funny enough, create a bit of a bunker mentality between the manager and the players. I wouldn't say it quite happened for us under the Marcus Evans era, but they're different gravy. And they spent 135 million or something, 150 million
in the hundreds, definitely.
Yeah, but then again, so's every team. We're the lowest net spenders in the league, and we've spent 6 figures. No, more than 6 figures, 9 figures. So we're the lowest spenders in the league. So any team you play against has spent that much money. So I don't really see it as oh my god, that's their squad. But they're not a team that's fallen apart or anything. I think they're just they're having to relearn systems. They're having to bed in new players, just like we are. And
it's a new style. It's a transition from Moyes.
And that's right. So we changed all our players, but we didn't change the style. And there's been there was a little mini transition period. West Ham have done the same thing we have, but they've changed the style with it, and that's harder to come back to. So different levels. Don't get me wrong, but they've got one more hurdle to kind of to build through than we have, I think, because our style has always been one thing.
Yeah, because the new players arriving have got, the current players that were here last year, that can reinforce the message from McKenna, can reinforce what's expected, what's needed, what's desired. Whereas with the new manager coming in for West Ham, even the players that are left over haven't moved on or aren't new players. They are still also learning the message, also learning what's required, what's desired, what the role asks of them. So absolutely, I think you're sort of now.
And I think to a certain degree, it's levels, right? So so Liverpool, when we played them, done the same thing. A brand new manager with it's not completely different, but a different way of playing. But at that level, the level of players you're buying can just drop in and adapt to anything you put in front of them and win everything. But at our level, which is much lower down the leagues with not quite a level, it takes time to bend into a new system. Calvin Phillips, Smodics, Delap, Ogbene, the second they walk through that door, they had a system in which they pray to. Every bit of education they've had is to one thing from the second they walk in Ipswich Town. West Ham are not doing that. They're still finding it, and it may be to our advantage. I personally think it will be. I think it will be the deciding factor tomorrow. You've got a team who is securing its identity to a team that is not so secure in its identity, and that can win and lose your football games quicker than the heartbeat.
All right, excellent. Moving on to Leif Davis, because McKenna did speak about Leif, and obviously you mentioned the fullbacks in the previous comment. McKenna on Leif Davis in the press conference. In the last year, he had to adjust to playing the Championship week in, week out, and show his qualities. That's to be very robust and resilient as well in terms of the minutes he played. And now he has taken a very big step up, and was certainly very much in at the deep end. First week facing Mo Salah, second week Savino, third week Adama Traore, fourth week Minter, fifth week Dibbling at Southampton. It's a position a lot of the Premier League teams are really strong at. For him and his defensive game, it's been a really big challenge, but I think he's risen that challenge well. Like all of our players and all our defenders, there are mistakes and things to learn there, but those things are good feedback. The important thing is that he's showing that he's learning those aspects week by week, and I think last week was maybe his most impactful game going forward. That's one of his biggest strengths, his physicality in terms of getting forward and the quality of his left foot. So I'm going to ask you, Ben, after such a great season last year for Leif, for me, he seemingly hit the ground running. I saw today on social media 14 chances created, which is apparently as many as Trent Alexander-Arnold. And with an apparent left back problem at England, just how have you seen Leif start to the Premier League? And also, when did you get the call up to England?
Not yet.
Well, not in this camp, certainly. But is it the next camp? Is it this season at all? Just two questions for you there.
I don't know. It's a really hard question to ask, because I'm three games into the season. I thought he would seriously struggle. His defensive side of his game, thinking, holy shit, it was weak in the Championship, and it was by McKenna's own admission. And I think against Premier League teams, he will just be a hole that people will run through. And I was not convinced after it. I thought, oh shit, you might be another one that's reached the top level you can. However, then he got a bit better. Then he got a bit better. Rising tide in all ships and all that. And I still have, question marks over the defensive side of his game, and he will be turned over a lot of times this season. But you can't discount on him going forward, because that's the system we play. So for that, he's been great, and he has scored as many as TAA. But he's not going to get called up to England. So it's just not going to happen. Not. I don't think this year. I think maybe give him a year in the Premiership and see how he goes. In the same way that I thought Amari might really struggle in the Premier League, and I was thinking, oh, you have maybe gone just a bit beyond your ceiling. Then he got better. Then he got better. Then he got better. So they're all doing this. That when they're here is when you make an England call. But they're currently doing this, and that's good enough. For us at the moment, it's good enough. So the answer is, I don't have an answer. I don't think he's ready. I don't know. Yeah. Who knows? He could do 5 assists in the next 7 games, get a couple of plays in his back pocket. Football's a funny place.
I think he's good enough. I think certainly if you have got an apparent left back problem, and you have, I've heard, talk of Cole Palmer possibly playing
Palmer,
left back.
yeah, I saw that.
Which I think is absolutely, ridiculous. Cole Palmer is one of the greatest players currently in the Premier League, going forward and attacking. If he's not for me a left back, but I'm not a football manager, so maybe Carsley puts him there, and we see something that he saw and no one else did. But for me, Leith Davis is certainly good enough. Will it come this season? That question mark remains to be seen. But one thing I think we can all agree as Town fans coming in, we never questioned Leith's ability going forward. It was always this year. How will he step up in terms of defensively? And I think he's been very, very good, and he's improved every week, as you say. But and as McKenna said in his comments there, Ben, what a start! And there's no easy player in the Premier League to play against. Of course there isn't. But what a start! Salah, Minter, etc., etc. It wasn't a welcome to the Premier League, Leaf. Get yourself settled in, feet under the table, was it?
I know, and I'm probably as guilty as anyone for thinking, Christ, because then you have to think who's actually going through him. A player worth 3 times more than our entire squad, even at 100 million. So fair enough, okay. But just keep improving. The England team is biased to the big teams. They would rather put in a poor performing top 6 player than a good performing bottom 6 player. It's just the way it is. It's just that's just how England operates. It's why we haven't won anything in 60 years. So it's just the culture. But yeah, England are a shit football team. So I'm German, so what do I know, right?
Well, reached the final, Ben. I mean, I can't really that shit. But George says you speak sense, Benzie. But then George also does ask. George then says, sorry, not just creation offers an outlet in the air, much stronger and clearly gets the system more. And then asks, are you in a sauna, Ben?
No, I'm in an office right now that's kind of been turned into a sort of a half workroom. Everything. It's bloody freezing where I am right next to the ocean. So I've got a heater down by me that feels like a sauna. I am naked from the waist down though.
All right.
And thankfully this camera doesn't have a zoom, so I don't see anything.
Your house seems to suffer from what my house suffers from, though. Too much stuff. So eventually, every single building that we possibly ever owned, even buildings I didn't know we owned,
exactly.
I'm going to drop a link very shortly for those that perhaps weren't with us at the start. I want to hear your thoughts, but I've got 2 questions for you. Will Town win? And what's the score going to be tomorrow? You don't need a webcam to come on, just a microphone. I want to try and get as many of you on as I can, if anybody clicks the link. But so please don't be offended. But it's just those 2 questions tonight. Will Town win? And what's the score prediction going to be? And then I'll move you on and hopefully bring somebody else on or close the show. That'll be towards the end of the show. But links now being dropped in the chat. As I say, don't need a webcam, just a microphone. Mike D, Leaf is never going to be able to spend all game on the left wing in the Premier League, which I think is a very fair point. You're never going to be able to do that. And Rax Max, welcome in, Rax. How you doing? Well, learn, you earn, fact in sport, but more poignant fact in life, says Rax Max. But he is learning, Leaf.
He's still young. We bought him for £1 million, and he's the starting. He's going to be the starting left back unless he gets injured or atrociously out of form. So he has stepped up from £1 million player. What if he has a good season, what's he worth then? What 20, 25, 30? So he's on the upwards trajectory like everyone else, and it's not a rocket. It's a shallow trajectory, and I love shallow trajectories because they tend to be more consistent than the kind of a rocket ship. Hutchinson done this last season, and now he's kind of doing that, but that's because the level's different. So I think Leaf is doing the same.
I might be optimistic, but I want to say we've reached halfway. So if you're still here, liking the content, hit the like button, subscribe. And we are partnered with SolarWise Roofing and Building. Be wise this autumn and winter. Be SolarWise. Get your roof checked from Shane. Get your building looked at. Get whatever you need to worked on by Shane from SolarWise Roofing and Building. Call 01206 628 544. That's 01206 628 544. Covers the whole of East Anglia. Or look at their website, solarwiseroofingandbuilding.co.uk. Be wise this autumn and winter. Be SolarWise. You mentioned learning, you mentioned on an upward trajectory. O'Shea spoke to the press as well today, and obviously that's a partnership that's beginning. O'Shea and Greaves and O'Shea. And O'Shea had this to say on that partnership. 2 new players coming into a setup is always going to be difficult to hit off straight away, but I feel like we definitely are. There's lots of things that we can learn off each other and improve and grow as a pairing. I think our strengths and weaknesses complement each other quite well. It's just the more games we play, the better we're going to get as a group, and the more sessions we have, the better we're going to learn together too. So it's definitely one that's building. I'm enjoying playing with him, and it's making it quite easy playing alongside someone like him. Now, I'm going to ask you, Ben, for your thoughts on their partnership, because I was really madly in love with the partnership of Wolfie and Greaves. And then O'Shea came in, and on Sunday rather, against Villa, I actually thought, despite the 2 goals against, it was actually one of their best games. And I know it's a very small sample size.
Yeah,
I actually thought it was one of their best games as a partnership. I really enjoyed watching them two play together and work as a team. And that was just a few games into that partnership. How good can that partnership be for you, and how's it gone?
My answer for this comes with the heaviest of hearts, because it's the expense of Wolfenden, who has done absolutely nothing wrong whatsoever. It's just football at this level is brutal. He's not even been in the squad for 3 games. That is, and I thought he'd be our starting centre back the entire season. But to your point, O'Shea and Greaves, they look better and better and better. Greaves has a strength with his head in the air to clear balls. He's so good at intercepting, and O'Shea is quick. He closes down defenders. He knows how to tackle. So they're right about the complementing the strengths and weaknesses. Those 2 are lovely, but part of me is a bit sad every good thing I watch them do, because it's one less thing for Wolfenden. And Wolfenden for me has been the story of Ipswich. You think from when he was too sad to come, too completely depressed to come to training every day, to right now, we thought until a few games ago, being the starting centre back in the Premier League campaign. And these 2 are now so good, and they are a level above Wolfenden. There's no question. They've pushed him out the squad, so it's another bit of that transition, and it just comes with a heavy heart. It's like when you move house to a better house. Your better house is better in every way. It's why you bought the bloody thing. But it's just as you walk past the back door, you look behind you one last time and you're sad, because it will never quite be the home you left.
There's the analogy. There it is.
It's true, though. And I kind of think of Wolfenden. There's like the lovely house that we've all brought up with, that we're moving out of. It's like you're sad to hand the keys over, because you've got so many memories there. But the thing you're going on to is bigger and better, and a fuck lot more expensive. And that's kind of how I see Wolfie. And I think he'll be a bit part player. They might not stay fit all season, but it is a particular area. And I like this about McKenna. Brutal. Absolutely brutal when it's needed to be, as sad as that all makes us.
Yeah, I've got a lot of love for Wolfie. I still think he's a big part for him to play here, and there's it's certainly going to be a fantastic player, and he's still growing as a player. You talk about Leaf growing as a player. He's still a player that's still developing and growing, and it's just competition. It's competition for places, and that's what you want to see at the football club, really. Because O'Shea will make Wolfie better, and Wolfie will make O'Shea better. Just iron sharpens iron, as they say.
I completely agree. Hopefully O'Shea will be like a whetstone to Wolfie's sword kind of thing. So when Wolfie does get that chance, he will know he's got to put in a 10 out of 10 performance. He has got to play the game of his life, and that will only benefit the team. But that's why you have competition. So so you're always good. And I hope to see him again. We will see him, of course we will. But I just, it's just hard. It's the brutality.
We've seen him plenty of times. Yeah. And it's down to him then when he comes in to wrestle that shirt back, keep hold of it. And that's one thing about Wolfie. Once he got the opportunity, I think he'll take it. And we'll have that. It's a battle on. And that's what you want as a fan, as a manager, as a club. You want battles all over the pitch between players that want to play and players that are pushing each other. And in terms of the partnership for Greaves and O'Shea, it was really building on Sunday, and we conceded 2 goals, but they were, as a partnership, really building, and it can only get better the more minutes they play, the more games they play, as O'Shea was sort of indicating there in his press conference comments. All right, moving on to the team. There's a number of knocks, number of injuries, apparently. A few sort of game time decisions. A few, we're going to look at it in the next 24 hours, etc. But I asked Matt Phillips for his lineup, what he would put out for this Saturday's game, tomorrow's game against West Ham. Here is what he come up with. Since conversations with Matt, obviously there's been rumours that Axel Twinzabi perhaps won't be fit to play. Matt's comments were, if it isn't Axel, he'd put Johnson in at right back, but that's his team. Any changes for you, Ben, or was that how you would go? And also, you guys and girls at home, what do you agree with? Do you agree with it? Disagree with it? If you disagree with it, where do you disagree with it? Ben, over to you.
That is the team right there. every player there. Twanzebe is the one who he thinks had a knock, so I would agree. Thing in there, but yeah, O'Shea, Greaves, Davis, Morton Phillips in the middle. We've already spoken about him. Clark, fucking hell, I think he just alerted himself to the Premier League on Aston Villa. Smollick's playing in his preferred role, his actual role that we bought him in for. Yep. And Hutchinson on the right, the actual role he's best for, and Delap, the actual role he's. So you've got a front four there playing in their preferred positions. That is the perfect team. Perfect team.
So you'd go with that, and you'd also go for if Axel can't play, you'd go for Johnson in at right back.
Is Harry Clark fit yet? Well, you can't drop him into a game like this. Is he even fit yet? No,
he's on the way back. He's on the way back. I wouldn't say he's fit enough to start, but that's me. I'm not McKenna. I'm not the medical team. I don't.
Yeah, and he probably wouldn't start him anyway because he's been out.
Everyone's on the grass. The thing is with injuries, Ben. Everyone's on the grass until suddenly they're back in the 11. That's football analogy, right? Is he fit yet? Well, he's on the grass. Does that mean he's on the grass doing a game?
I was on some grass today. It wasn't fit enough to do a 5-minute 5-a-side match, so it doesn't mean anything.
Jesus Christ. Asmar, Johnson's the next West Ham and has a point to prove too.
That's a fair point. That's a great point, actually. Yes.
It's a great point. Rax Max, my slight concern is attacking down the right. I think we look more aggressive with Burns playing.
But Hutchinson was playing in the centre. If him on the right, I don't have that concern.
Okay.
Hutchinson in his right position solves that.
Yeah. Asmar would go with Matt's 4 up top. As with you, Hamish, Greaves is better than Burgess in every way. Burgess is a very good championship level defender, but you need more than for this at this level.
Yep.
All right, so you're all in agreement. David says Smolix won't play tomorrow, so that's an interesting one.
I don't know. I think he will play. Because West Ham are a physical, brutal team when they need to be, and you need a bit of a shithouser up there in a preferred role. And he's got a little point to prove himself, I think. And in fact, of all of the players we have brought in, every single one of them, for me, he's got the most work to do with a point to prove about, is he good enough for this level? On current form, I would say no. And that might be a controversial opinion. I've not seen anything of him yet that would justify him starting. However, his character would suit tomorrow, I think. So I would put Smodix, but play him in his right position. And maybe he hasn't been great because he's been played out of position. But he's the one player for me that's just got to do a little bit of work to convince everyone of why we think he's as good as he is. I would be interested to see what the fan base, the chat thought about it, because I was watching the last game with 20 people, and we all were kind of in the same place of it. It's like, we haven't seen it yet. Not yet.
All right, well, there you go. He wants to know what you think of Phil at home, so get your comments in.
I'm really intrigued. I was really looking forward to seeing what people thought about him.
Get your comments in right now. Let Ben know what you think. Great question there, Ben. Right, we'll move on to the score then. I also asked Matt for his score. Here is what Matt said. Here is what I've said. Let's have a look. Do you agree at home? Let us know your score prediction at home. Here we go. So I've gone 3-1 Town win. I was a bit, why not? I mean, I'm a Town podcaster. Let's go crazy. And Matt's gone for a 2-1 West Ham win. Any score there you agree with? If not, which is your one and why, Ben?
That one. I agree with Matt 2-1. So we've gone for the same team and the same score. West Ham always score against us. So it is written, so it shall be done. It's as sure as I will take a shite as I wake up in the morning and as day follows night. West Ham will score tomorrow. However, I think we will score one more, and I think it will be Delap and Calvin Phillips. I'm so sure on it. I'm doing something I never do, which is put money on it. So I'm putting 5 queen sheets on that exact outcome.
So you think Delap and Phillips will score?
Yes.
And how many will West Ham score? Because you sort of pointed towards Matt's one. So Matt's gone 2-1 West Ham win. So you're going 2-1 Town win.
That's a 2-1 us win.
No.
Isn't it?
We're away. So Matt's gone...
I thought because it's... Okay, maybe it's because the 2 is closest to the Town crest. Okay, none of those things then. We're going to win 2-1. That's just what it is. So, put your bets on, guys, and thank me for cutting the bills this month.
One more goal than I've gone for. All right, so I've gone for a 3-1 Town win. Matt's gone for a 2-1 Hammers win. That's who he went for. Apologies.
Strange. I don't see them winning that tomorrow. I ain't no mugs, but I do not see them winning that game.
No. Well, no. I'm just a Town fan, really. We could play a combined 11 of Real Madrid, Barcelona, and Man City, and I still think we'd probably win. In my heart of hearts, because I'm a Town fan, right? We've got 2-2 from David. Fizzo Blue says, "Shame on you, Matt." Colin says, "I've done one." 1-2 or 2-2, same as last Sunday. He won £36. George says 1-0 Town. Jack Clark with the goal. Love it, George. Love it. Norman says, "I agree with Ben. Our weakest signing this summer."
Yeah, so far. But playing his right position, and let's have another conversation about it.
I'm a big fan of it. I think that's a really harsh sentence, weakest signing, and I think he's become good. But it's early days.
There's always, in every single team, from Man City to us, there's always one player you pay a lot of money for that doesn't quite make it. I think it'll be him. I just don't think he suits the system. Mm-hmm. I just don't think he's good enough. And I don't think I'm going to be wrong on that as the season goes. But
I think you will be. I think this is the guy that was ready for the Premier League, League, did all he had to do in the Championship. And I think I can sense where you and some of the chat is coming from, but as I say to every the opposition fan, season is in its infancy, and it is in its infancy, and
sure,
it's let's sort of hold that judgment or just
hold but that in the same way that everyone thinks Delap's going to have a great season, you can also say players are not going to have such a great season in current form. So, and everyone's saying Delap's going to fly. Who is after him today? Who is it? Chelsea apparently are keeping a close eye on Delap, and we're raving about him, and people walking around with massive stonkons regarding him, and rightly so, because he's earned it. But you can also have to say the inverse, that based on the current trajectory, Delap will, I think, pull up roots this year. I think he's going to be something quite special for us. Smodics, if we go back down, he'll be great for us.
Okay, all right. David has gifted 1 Talking Town membership. Thank you very much, David. Really appreciate that generosity. Thank you.
Thank you, David.
Yeah, excellent. 3-2 says as marked for the Town. We've got another score here. Fixed Blue 1-2 to the Super Blues. And David says, as Ben has said, Spinox has to play in the 10 role to get the best out of him. That's where he scored his goal against City. Trevor says number 10, play him in his best position. Last question to you, Ben, before we close for the evening, came from Mike D. And let's just say Hutchinson is playing in the 10 role. That's not moving. That's not changing.
Sure.
Who would you play on the right? Burns or Ogbene out of those two? Why?
Burns. He knows the system. And we are going to have to be secure in our system to beat West Ham tomorrow. The system will win it. And that's where they're weakest. And that's where we're strongest. It is our trump card. It is our ace in the hole. We know us better than they know them.
All right. There we go. What a great show. I've really enjoyed tonight's show. It's sort of flown by.
Me too. I'm buzzing, man. I'm buzzing.
37 minutes.
P.S. I've got to say, how fucking good is Delap? Oh my God. I have not been excited about a young player like that. Okay. I'm tempted to say Connor Wickham, but they didn't quite go anywhere. But this guy is the real deal. I mean, I'm looking at him, and okay, he can't really. He's not the greatest talker in the entire world. No, but what a footballing brain he's got, and God, is he run and he's powerful. I haven't been this excited over a player in years and years and years.
But George writes, can Delap do this consistently? I'm loving it, but you can't keep putting 3 or 4 players and scoring worldies. If he wasn't scoring them, we'd be saying he isn't linking the midfield well enough.
Yeah, he wasn't. But the other goal we scored was a fox in the box. That was a very George Hurst goal. The first goal we scored. That was just being ready for a nice, neat little cross. He can score them all day, I think.
Yeah. I loved him when we signed him, and I saw it the brief glimpses in pre-season, and it's just gotten better and better and better. And as so many players within our football club, you're just sort of scratching the surface of what the potential they've got.
I'm still learning. My dad came with me to the Aston Villa game. We missed the previous one, both of us, for different reasons. And we're both catching up with who's that? Oh, he does it. So we're still learning the team as we go. We're still learning their best positions. We're still learning their, the little bits they find difficult. So this is a learning process for us as well as fans. We're catching up with the quality. Might be the way to say it.
You're the king of analogies. This might be a really bad analogy, but this team, to me, really is like an iceberg. Like, there's so much more underneath the surface that we haven't seen yet. So much more still to come. with an iceberg, you see it looks huge above the water, but there's always at least twice the size underneath it. This team's like that. You got Delap there showing what he's shown at the moment, but there's so much more left to come out of him. Leif Davis shows what he's showing. There's so much more left to come from him. Jack Clark, there's so much more left that you don't see, that we're going to see.
I agree. The quality, it's like a Lotus Europa. That lovely car from the late 70s. It looks pretty on top, but underneath, the bits that make it work, so hard to make it a brilliant car. And that's what we're doing. Do a thing tomorrow when you're watching us on from Singapore, or via VPN. Now sponsored by Ipswich. Can't get in trouble, Your Honour, Your Majesty. If you're watching them on the telly tomorrow, try and spend 5 minutes where you don't watch the ball and watch our players. Don't watch the ball. Watch our players. Watch the running, watch the marking, watch the movements, watch the talking. That's all coaching. That's all McKenna, and that is why we're going to do okay this year.
What you really mean is texting to Radio Suffolk and ask Brenner to do a bit of commentary on what he's seeing, right? Because we're all listening to the radio. Rax Max, the lap, the bulldozer, €10 from David. David, your generosity is
David.
Appreciated. Thank you so much. Congratulations, by the way, to the one Talking Town member who was gifted it. You can also become a Talking Town member, 499 CASN at any point. Hit the join button and give Freddie a call at Stowmarket Osteopaths, 01449613633. I've been there like 101 million times this week, Ben. Oh my days, my back. He is a wizard.
I'll tell you, I'm worried about you tomorrow, Gav. I'm really worried about you tomorrow because
why?
Because when Calvin Phillips in the 87th minute gives him 2 yards of space and smashes one in the right-hand side of the keeper, and you jump off your sofa, as you're being wheeled out in the ambulance, you will have the biggest smile on your face going, and you'll say, Ben was right.
I'll tell you what, if that was to happen, and it was like the 89th minute, the words "what back" come to mind. I'll be on the
who needs it back?
I'm on the chandeliers, mate, swinging. I'm like, this would be amazing, absolutely amazing. Look, it's been a fantastic show. Thank you so much, Ben, for joining me. Thank you at home for choosing Talking Town and spending your Friday night with us, or Saturday morning, or whenever you're watching. But whenever you watch us, thank you so much for choosing Talking Town. Have a great rest of the evening. Enjoy Saturday. We're back tomorrow for our match reaction show. The moment the full-time whistle goes, we'll be here reacting to what we've just seen, win, lose, or draw. But until then, be safe, be good, like and subscribe, and I will catch you tomorrow. Thank you for choosing us. Goodbye.
You make me smile when I think of you. If I am down or when I am blue, I can't get enough. You make me happy, I feel so fine. Oh, how I wish that you were mine. I can't get enough. I woke up all soaked in sweat, weird chills running down my neck. I thought went crazy from just the thought of you. A long blonde hair.